What's up, everyone? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Stitched Up Podcast. I think we should just call it the SUP Podcast, Stitched Up
Let's
Podcast.
do it.
Anyways,
Let's
I'm sorry. So you got my boy, Kyle. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. We got Mike Trout. He played 2 innings in his rehab game, and then he had to get removed. So we're going to talk about if he's turning into a Ken Griffey Jr. 2.0. We got some crazy Yankees news. Aaron Boone sent out a garbage lineup on purpose. And also we have to talk about them thinking Jazz Chisholm Jr. is not clubhouse material. Vladdy, he homered again in a Jays loss. Garrett Crochet, he might be on the move. We have midseason awards at the very end. I can't believe this is even a thing, Kyle, but we have me, Fuzzy, versus ZACK HAMPLE. It happened.
I can believe it. Because the dude's a dork. You could go daily and pick out a new guy versus ZACK HAMPLE because he's just. We'll save it. But yeah,
we'll save it.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about it though. I'm really passionate about that man.
I cannot believe it happened. I used to watch that guy every single day after class in 2013-14, like my senior year. But we have a lot to talk about today. Sorry, we've been MIA. We've been figuring out some things behind the scenes. MLB The Show got crazy. We'll probably do like a dedicated MLB The Show podcast here soon just to talk about 2024 if it's getting better, because I haven't played in a month. Are you still enjoying MLB The Show, by the way?
It's I'm the content right now. While as we're recording this, we're in the prime of season 2. Obviously, we're getting crazy new cards. Every card that releases is pretty much an end game card. But the problem is, it's not like last year where season 3 comes along. You can't mix in these season 2 cards, so you're done again. I'm worried with college football out and all this stuff at the start of season 3, which is going to start in 36 days. We're in trouble. I don't think everybody was over the restart after the first season. They're definitely going to be over it after the second season. You can't give us all these cool cards, let us earn it, let us grind for it, then take it away from us again. It's not the move. And I think they are realizing that though. And I think next year will be a lot better, but it's a long wait until then. But I am having fun playing it right now. I don't know if I will be in 36 days.
I agree. If set 3 does not abandon ship and actually give us 15 different wild cards out the gate, so it's basically like sets are still there, but you're allowed to use whatever card you want with 15 wild cards, so it's not, oh, I'm using 85s again and doing Team Affinity again. I 100% agree. And then you like college football so far?
It's okay. I mean, I'm not a big football guy, so I can't play it and recognize the flaws in it. A lot of people say it's a bad game. A lot of people like it. I've had fun just because I'm doing like some fun collabs with people I haven't collabed with. So it's kind of like refreshing. And the videos, they're not doing great, but I'm double uploading them, so it's just extra, views, extra work we're putting in.
Go.
Yeah.
But expanding your audience a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Let me say one thing so nobody gets their hopes up real quick about the hopefully they abandon ship, give us the 15 wild cards. I can confirm with 100% certainty that's not happening, unfortunately. It's going to be a full reset for season 3. Yeah, that's what's happening, unfortunately. I really wish I could have optimism and be like, yeah, hopefully, but yeah, it's been confirmed to me that it's a full reset season 3. And I understand there's not much they can do about it. They've laid out a structure for the year.
That makes sense.
You can't just abandon it, but I can say that with everything that I have learned from who I've talked to, all the discussions I've had, I would put the odds at 95% chance that we will no longer have sets and seasons come next year. So be patient, because next year could be back to the glory days, and that's how I feel.
All right, well, there you go. Let us know in the comments, guys. Are you still playing MLB The Show 24? And if Kyle's right, if they do reset for set 3, are you going to be playing? Now, speaking of the glory days, it's been some time since we've seen Mike Trout and his glory days. So as of today, Mike Trout, his setback, it's real. He had a knee injury, and he's been out for 3 months. He played 2 innings in a rehab game. He had to leave, not because of dehydration, not because he was tired his first game in a couple months. He had soreness in his surgically repaired knee. And now everyone is saying that he is turning into Ken Griffey Jr. 2.0. So I guess I'll leave it off to you, Kyle. What do you make of Mike Trout's kind of career after he turns 30 years old? Do you think that he will be Ken Griffey Jr. 2.0, where he can't get to 3,000 base hits or 700 home runs because of the whole injury bug? And we know that Griffey never won a World Series. Do you think that the Angels should try and trade Mike Trout because they lost Ohtani for nothing? They're not doing anything with a Rendon or a Trout. So do you feel bad for Mike Trout? Are you on Stephen A. Smith's side where it's karma and he deserves to get injured because he chose to stay with it? Like, What do you make of Mike Trout's second half of his career? Because he is an all-time talent, but what do you make about the totality of his career and the fact that Bryce Harper has essentially caught up to him in the public perception, not with stats, because you can't compare the stats, but in terms of clutchness, winning MVPs, doing it when it matters the most? Harper's been that guy.
Yeah.
What do you make of Mike Trout and his kind of late half career?
Yeah, when you compare Bryce Harper and Mike Trout, it is different because it's like, yeah, obviously the stats are in favor of Mike Trout, especially when you compare them, like the sample size of when Mike Trout's played compared to Bryce Harper. But at a certain point, when Bryce Harper has all these playoff runs and he's just the clutchest man on earth, that outweighs it. He's there for his team more, and that's not Mike Trout's fault, right? I do feel horrible for Mike Trout. But when you're talking about, like, who do you wish you had on your franchise, you almost have to go back and think, like, Bryce Harper, having him was more instrumental because he is there during these runs. And obviously, the sample size does skewer it a little bit because the Angels don't make the playoffs. I think that Stephen A. Smith thing is absolutely crazy. Like, come on, man.
That was diabolical. That was just mean.
And my problem is, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can find a clip of this, but I feel like Stephen A. Smith would have never said that about Damian Lillard, right? Damian Lillard, there was always a thing about him with the Portland Trail Blazers where he was loyal, just how Mike Trout is, where he's like, you know what? I don't need to go to a super team. I want to bring a championship to where I was drafted, to where I'm at. And, you know, a lot of people praised Damian Lillard for that. A lot of people criticized him, but, you know, nobody really said, like, he deserves to get injured and it's karma for him being loyal. Like, where do you ever hear something like that? So Stephen A. Smith was definitely out of his mind for saying that. But I make the argument, and people disagree with this, where I say Mike Trout is going to become a what if. And I need
a Grady Sizemore type what if?
Well, because
or a Troy Tulowitzki, or because
I feel like none of them, like a Ken Griffey Jr. what if. I think Ken Griffey Jr. is a what if, and the reason I say this, he is a Hall of Famer. Ken Griffey Jr. is one of the best players we've ever seen, but there is still always the question of what would he have been if he was healthy, right? No matter how good he was, you cannot throw out the argument that he could have. Obviously, he would have been greater without the injuries. With the more time you get to play, the more stats you get to accumulate, you are going to put up better numbers. Ken Griffey Jr. already did some of the best stuff we've ever seen. Same with Mike Trout, right? But with everything Mike Trout has done, what could he have done if he just had a normal, you know, a normal type of durability? Like, he's...
Yeah, so here's what Kyle's talking about. From age 19 to 30, Ken Griffey Jr. had almost 1,900 base hits, 340 doubles, 440 home runs, and almost 200 stolen bases, right? So that was before the age of 31. From ages 31 to 40, my man had 192 home runs and a 114 OPS plus. I bring up the OPS plus because from 19 to 30, he had a 150 OPS plus. So the production just absolutely fell off. And I mean, his age 32 season, he played 70 games, 33 season, 53 games, 34 season, 83 games, 35 season, 128 games. His final season at 40 years old, 33 games. His body completely betrayed him, and he still ended up with 2,780 base hits and how many home runs? I can't even see them out. 630 home runs. So, like you said, what would have happened to Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth, their career stats, had Ken Griffey Jr. never gotten hurt? And I think that's what you're talking about with Mike Trout.
Yes.
What could have Mike Trout's career WAR been? Could he have passed a Barry Bonds or a Babe Ruth for the best career ever?
Yeah, and whether people like it or not, if you can sit there and say, would Ken Griffey Jr. have been the home run champion had he been healthy? That makes him a what if. Even though he's
I think he would have been.
What's that?
I think he would have been.
I think so too. Even though he's a Hall of Famer, even though he's one of the best players we've ever seen, they can still be a what if. That's just it, right? Like, let's say a player had 4 home runs in the first 6 innings of a game and then got pulled out of the last at bat because of a blowout. You would be sitting there thinking, what if he got that last at bat? Right?
Exactly.
That's how people are going to think. No matter what happens, Ken Griffey Jr., you could ask anybody who the greatest player of all time is. Nobody's really going to say Ken Griffey Jr., right? But had he been healthy, even give him 2 more healthy seasons, 3 more healthy seasons, That's the difference. That could have changed the narrative on Ken Griffey Jr. on where he ranks in people's all-time list. And
that's the problem with guys like Trout, Bonds, and Griffey. They're all some of the best talent and like most talented players ever. Those three guys never won a chip. Yeah. So it's hard to figure out who is the best baseball player of all time or the greatest baseball player of all time, because you could go with Trout as the most gifted of this era. Maybe you give Ohtani the most talented. Griffey has the most swag, and Bonds was the greatest hitter that we've ever seen. Babe Ruth was a two-way. Yeah. It's just becoming so muddied, and I felt like Trout was on a pace to maybe solidify himself as that's the guy. Yeah. That is the best baseball player of all time. Now, Bonds had the gold glove, same with Griffey. They all had the speed and the power, Mickey Mantle. So there's been a lot of great players, but I genuinely thought because Mike Trout, I think he passed Ty Cobb for the most WAR ever by age 26, 27. Like, the dude had 80 WAR before 27 years old or something crazy like that. And now, like you said, he's turning into a what if. And John Boy brought it up a few days ago that what is happening with Mike Trout could now be happening to Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge, you know, he was injury prone throughout the beginning of his career, and now he's finally healthy. Yeah. What if that happens to Mike Trout? What if the Angels give up on Mike Trout and then he goes off and stays healthy and they were just kind of random off injuries and he got better? But then again, what if Aaron Judge never performs in the playoffs? Mike Trout has never performed in the playoffs. So there's just so many questions, and we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but I just really wanted to get your take on how you felt about Mike Trout. So it just really seems like, the playoff success, is that a big thing to you, or do you just think that the Angels have failed him in so many ways and he kind of got screwed for staying loyal because they lost Ohtani for nothing? Yeah. So do you...
Yeah, I mean, the playoff situation, right? He got such a small sample size. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2014. That's the only year, his first and last year he was in it. You know, they get swept in the first series. It's kind of hard to really, you know, say what type of playoff performer he would be. But when it comes to him getting traded to another team and getting healthy, I mean, dude, 2020, 53 games played. 2021, 36 games played. 2022, 119 games played, which almost seems high compared to what he's been doing. Last year, 82 games played. And then this year, 29 games played. It's looking like he's probably not going to come back, right? Like, he was just doing his rehab assignment. He was just going to get started. How big of a setback is this knee soreness, right? It's the knee that he's been struggling with.
His surgically repaired knee.
Yeah, why would they force him and rush him to come back if they're not going to be competing? The Angels, it's a travesty, right? Like, this is such a brutal situation. God, it sucks. I mean, of course, we would all, as baseball fans, just would like to see him get traded somewhere else, just on the off chance that he does get healthy. Please just let's see him one more time in the playoffs, at least, just to see what he could do, especially with a team with good offense around him. So I'm rooting for that, honestly. I'm rooting for that, but man, I don't know. Even if he goes to another team, I can't put all my hope in him staying healthy. I don't see it happening anymore. I mean, this year...
So he's got 86 WAR, 378 career home runs. Final little bow on Mike Trout. Do you think he gets to 100 WAR or 500 home runs? Do you think that this knee injury is what is the final kind of nail in the coffin of his late resurgence?
See, the crazy thing about Mike Trout is when he does come back, in these little short stints he comes back, he looks awesome, right? Like at the beginning of this year when he was first, you know, the first few weeks, you're like, this could be a Trout year. Like, you know, this could be an MVP Trout year. He was just hitting nonstop nukes. I mean, a bunch of solo home runs, but he was doing his thing.
He's still top 10% in speed at 32.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason if he stays healthy he can't get to these milestones, but he just gets cut off so quick. And you would think these short, well, not short breaks, they're long injury breaks, but you would think they would mess up his momentum and he would come back and struggle. That doesn't really happen. So I really don't know. It's such a wild card with it. I just need him to just have one more healthy year, just a full healthy year. Let's see him, you know, play a big chunk of games and see what he's going to do, and maybe he can get traded to another team and really put up some numbers. I don't know, man. I'm worried for him. I'm worried he's going to be that next, you know.
Me too. Everyone in the comments, prayer circles around Mike Trout.
Please.
We need this guy. Just I mean, everyone wrote off Aaron Judge. He can't stay healthy, and he's been an absolute monster because he's been healthy since everyone said he can't stay healthy. Yeah. So please, prayer circles around Mike Trout. But we did bring up Ken Griffey Jr. Now, one thing that Ken Griffey Jr. said I don't remember when it was in his career, but he said he would rather retire or not be alive than play for the Yankees.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
One other person that said that was Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but we've had some different talks from Vladdy as of late, but we'll get to Vladdy in just a moment. Let's focus on the Yankees. So yesterday, I only saw this because Jose Canseco put out a quote tweet on the Yankees lineup card. So the Yankees tweeted out their lineup, and he said, one of the worst lineups I've ever seen. Let me read you the 2024 Yankees lineup, and let me just, Jahmai Jones, okay, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, J.D. Davis as your cleanup hitter, followed by Anthony Volpe, Gleyber Torres, Alex Verdugo, Carlos Narvaez, and DJ LeMahieu as your 9-hitter. Now, the reason why I bring this up, Kyle, is because back in the day, Joe Torre put out a trash can lineup on purpose to send a message that we do not have enough help. He put out the worst lineup that the Yankees fan base has ever seen. They got incredibly upset, like, what is this? Hal Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees, got so pissed, 3 days later he made a trade.
Wow.
So I have to ask you a question. Do you think that Aaron Boone is trying to pull a Joe Torre 2.0? And by the way, I got this from John Boy. Do you think that he's trying to pull... It's from the book, The Yankee Way. I think that Joe Torre wrote a book, and that's how he carried himself while he was the manager. Yeah. And he had to prove a point. Juan Soto came out and said, we can't win with 2 guys. Luis Severino is mocking the Yankees, saying they only have 2 guys. They're all in a group chat, and he's telling these guys, you got 2 good hitters. I'm not scared to face you guys. Soto confirms it. Boone puts out a trash can lineup. Was it on purpose?
I will say it better have been, because... It
better have been.
Because if it wasn't, that's a fireable offense, right? Okay, and it worked out perfectly to show how crazy it was, because it went exactly how it should have went. When you put J.D. Davis behind Aaron Judge should get walked 4 times.
Four times.
Why let him get at-bats? Because J.D. Davis is going to come up and go 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Jahmai Jones to lead off. You have Jahmai Jones at leadoff, right? 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts.
What is that, dude?
They both did the same thing. So I really hope that's what Aaron Boone was doing. And, you know, I mean, I don't think anybody really looks at the Yankees besides spoiled Yankee fans and says, dude, we have the worst lineup ever, right? I mean, when in reality, like, you have Austin Wells who hit a home run the day before. You bench him, right? There, you got to build momentum. It would be like the Giants benching Tyler Fitzgerald right now. You know, you got to take the positives and you got to make that happen. At the end of the day, the Yankees are still 60-43 after their huge slump. So it's not really Mayday season right now, but I do think if they want to win a World Series, they are going to need a little bit more, and maybe that's what Aaron Boone's doing. Maybe that can help. But if that's not it, and if he came out and said, yeah, it's not for help, I just thought this lineup would work, you got to send him off to Panama. Because there's, dude, I mean...
I think it was on purpose. Because the Yankees, they're 16-24 over their last 40 games. Not 4 games, not 14 games. They're 8 games under 500 for the last 2 months.
Yeah, that's not very
I don't know if people realize how bad it's gone with the Yankees. Now, if you're the Giants, like you're a fan of the Giants, if you're a fan of the Guardians, we're lucky with what we got, all right? We got some faces of the franchise. We're going to be cool with, you know, going 60-40. The Yankees fan base is nowhere close to being happy with it, because even though they were historically good to begin the season, all that matters is what have you done for me lately? And Aaron Boone, like you said, if he did not do this on purpose, Panama, like a one, make sure he's got Expedia. He can get his little MVP points, and he'll be an Expedia Pro member. That dude's got to go. But
manage a Jamba Juice, maybe. You know, maybe he'd probably mess that up too.
Probably, man. Too much ice in the smoothie.
Yeah, exactly.
So while we're on the topic of the Yankees, I had to bring that up because I thought John Boy bringing that up, I was like, I have to talk about that with Kyle, because that's just a cool perspective that I didn't, because I always thought that the lineup card came from the higher ups, but apparently, I guess in modern day baseball, you have managers building lineups more often than we saw in the past. I guess that's because they're paid a lot of money and they have the analytics behind their side. So maybe they're just trusted more often. But while we're talking about the Yankees and the fact that maybe Aaron Boone did this so they would make a trade. Breaking news, and again, these are all just rumors. Nothing is confirmed or anything like that. But according to the rumors, Jazz Chisholm Jr. was possibly in the running to get traded by the Yankees. That's why the Marlins were putting him at second base. Maybe the Yankees move off of Gleyber, but now Gleyber's hitting 300. But one more wrinkle in that story is that reports are saying that some front office Yankee staff members are worried that Jazz would not be a clubhouse fit, which is insane to say considering they recently employed Aroldis Chapman and Domingo Germán.
Yeah, that's a crazy perspective to have when it comes to like which players am I going to have standards for and which players am I not. You know, that's pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie.
Right, and the thing about Jazz, I think he follows you, he follows me. Like, he's a very friendly, open to talk and have fun kind of guy.
Yeah.
And maybe they're saying that because he called out Miguel Rojas. Do you remember what happened with Miguel Rojas?
I don't remember that, actually.
So Miguel Rojas, he's on the Dodgers now.
Yeah.
And essentially, when they were both on the Marlins, Miguel Rojas did not wake up Jazz Chisholm Jr. for a meeting. It was like the veteran spiting the young guy who should have been up and not napping.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like, just wake the kid up. Baseball's a grueling sport. Now, maybe I'm enabling Jazz, but the fact that Jazz went on a podcast and vocalized this, and I mean, Miguel's been a different player since that happened. He's actually been pretty decent for the Dodgers. So do you think that Jazz is a clubhouse misfit, as some people might call him? I don't think that's the case, but a lot of people might say he's a me first kind of guy. I don't agree with that, but what is your take on Jazz? I mean, not being a clubhouse fit for the Yankees of all teams.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like Jazz is cool dude. He follows us. I've done a video with Jazz and stuff, but I'm going to try to answer this as like, I'm going to try to ignore that and pretend that I'm going to pretend I'm the Yankees, right? The thing with the Miguel Rojas thing, I have to assume... I mean, we've never heard anything negative about Miguel Rojas before that, right?
No, sweet guy. From anything, he's a sweet human.
Yeah, I would like to assume that if a Miguel Rojas did that, he probably felt that Jazz needed to learn a lesson. It could have been Jazz,
I agree.
You know, being kind of doing stuff like that prior, and maybe it was kind of like, you know what, let's let the kid learn a lesson here. That maybe that's it. But as far as the clubhouse thing, I doubt that is a significant issue compared to, like you said, how much worse could it be than having a Domingo Germán or a Aroldis Chapman, right? Like,
exactly.
Like, these guys have standards. These guys have families. I'm sure that their priorities lie with, you know, people that respect their wives and stuff like that. So I don't know. I doubt that that's really a huge thing. If the Yankees said that, then maybe it is to them. Maybe they're trying to stay away from the Domingo Germáns and the Chapmans now, but
hey, you could call him Dingo.
Yeah. As far as like Jazz, I don't know if Jazz is what could take the Yankees over the top. You know, like if the Yankees did get Jazz, like how much do you see that helping them?
I just think the versatility would be a great asset, and the fact that a couple days ago I put out that he's got almost a 30-30 season over his last 162, and that's being on the Marlins. Now, say what you want about lineup protection, but I feel like when you're the guy in a lineup and they're focusing on you, like they game plan around you, don't let guys get on before him, that kind of production doesn't come around very often. So if you have, let's say you go Soto, Jazz, Judge, or a Soto, Judge, Jazz, something like that. It's so much more protection for Jazz, who did have, 2 RBIs the last time that we saw him, 2 hits, 2 stolen bases. Like, the dude can be a difference changer in New York just because of how he plays. And a lot of people were giving Verdugo credit and Soto credit that they brought a flair to the Yankees that, despite the fact that you can't really show off who you are as an individual with the Yankees, they were doing that.
Yeah.
They didn't have to have a beard to do that. They didn't need long hair. All they were doing was pimping home runs and wearing chains and going off in terms of their personality. So I think that he would actually be a good fit with this version of the Yankees. And I think because Gleyber did start off he was really bad to begin the first half, and his defense has slipped as well, that if you plug in a Jazz at second base, if you plug him in center field where he's got a cannon, he plays great defense in center field. Trent Grisham, you're going to give and take with that guy. You kind of live and die by the Gold Glove defense and the home run ball. But I think that Jazz would be a perfect fit. Now, I would also say the only way that I would want Jazz is if I get a pitcher along with it. Like if I can get a Jesus Luzardo or a Trevor Rogers. Trevor Rogers has been better this year. That's the only way that I go for Jazz. I don't know if I just do a one-off.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. I'd agree with that.
Because you're going to have to give up pieces for Jazz. He's the only reason why he's on the block is because he's the only guy that the Marlins can get value for. So don't overpay for the guy. I don't think that he's a clubhouse cancer, as they call him. And with 13 home runs, 21 stolen bases, I know the on base isn't what we want. It's only 325. But he's got a 103 OPS plus on a terrible team. I think on any other playoff contender, he's probably a 115 OPS plus guy with 55, 60 RBIs already.
Who do you think the Yankees would have to give up? Like, what type of tier? player.
Probably, I don't think they're ever going to get, because the thing about Jazz is he's under control until 2027. So that's decent, but it's not 2029, or there's no arbitration coming up where you can have him for cheap. Although he is relatively cheap. Oh, he does have arbitration next year, but again, that's a whole lot better than having to pay a Soto.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I probably would say Spencer Jones is off limits. The Yankees do a pretty good job at developing pitchers, so maybe the Marlins try and go for a young Yankee pitcher or something like that. I don't know about, maybe Clark Schmidt would be the guy. Maybe a Clark Schmidt for Jazz Chisholm, but maybe you don't want to get rid of pitching depth. I haven't really looked at it, but it was breaking news. I had to ask you about whether or not you thought he was a clubhouse.
Yeah. Well, I guess we won't have to know now because they're not going for him, right? So we'll never see.
Who knows? Yeah, if the Yankees are not in, I think that the Mariners are going to grab Jazz Chisholm Jr. That's my prediction.
That could be pretty good.
Yeah.
And then with J.P. Crawford out for a while, get that lefty bat in there.
And J-Rod.
Julio Rodriguez has been injured too? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, so when Jordan hit the cycle, the only reason why he got the triple is because J-Rod slammed into the wall and his ankle the ankle at the wall. So he's going to be missing the next 2 to 4 weeks. And Jorge Polanco, if you play second base for the Mariners, just retire because your career is about to fall off a cliff. So, I mean, Polanco's been useless. So the fact that they got Victor Robles in center field and Jorge Polanco at second, Jazz could be a plug and play with both of those positions. So for me, if he goes to the Yankees, fine. I think the Mariners would be a better fit. But do you have like a dark horse team that could use a center fielder or a second baseman? I think that the Guardians could use one. Maybe the Phillies. Do you have a sneaky little team? Maybe the Giants.
Man, he would be swaggy on the Phillies.
He would do
that. That would be awesome.
That would
be, and kind of like platoon with that Johan Rojas. Or is it Johan Rojas?
Johan Rojas.
Johan Rojas. I always get worried with the J names. I feel like I butcher them.
No, you're good.
Giants.
Maybe the Pirates.
Pirates. I definitely wouldn't. The Pirates get. I mean, I feel like a lot of teams could use Jazz for the points that you brought up. Just that flair he brings is actually, pretty. It's pretty valuable. I'm trying to see where you plug in. I'm playing center field for the Pirates. It would look good.
So in terms of like the worst production for center fielders, you got the Dodgers, the Pirates.
The Dodgers
Cardinals.
have the worst production?
Yep. You got Andy Paes, Outman, Enrique, and Chris Taylor. So you got the Dodgers, the Pirates, the Cardinals, the Rangers, the Reds, all in the bottom half. And then there's Baltimore as well because Mullins is not the same guy anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas the Phillies, they actually are, let's see, in terms of center field production, they're 21st in baseball.
21st.
So not great, but also not awful.
And then the Orioles have Cedric Mullins and Ryan Mountcastle available for trade talks, right?
That a lot of people are saying that Mountcastle could go as well. If we'll talk about Garrett Crochet in a second. If Crochet is made available, it could be a Mullins, Mountcastle. What's his name? There's a prospect. I think his name is like Cade McCormick or something like that. Chance McCormick, something like that.
They have so many prospects.
They're absolutely loaded.
Dude, now, that team, it's so unfair to look at. Like, I know we're going to talk about it later.
Kobe Mayo, Jackson Holiday, like guys who aren't even on the team.
Yeah. It's crazy how the talks with Jackson Holiday have just, like, how much that narrative has changed from when he came up to now. You know what I mean? Like, now it's all the talks are always involved of should they trade him for so-and-so? Like, people that you would never normally consider trading him for. I mean,
that's a perfect transition.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, did you ever in your mind think that Vladdy could get traded at age 25 years old?
No.
No. There's no way that we thought that Jackson was going to come up and go like 1 for 80, whatever he was. It was 1 for 30. I'm being dramatic. There's no way I thought
like 1 for 80.
The Blue Jays. Yeah, right. It even goes back to when the Blue Jays had Edwin and Troy and Russell Martin and Jose Bautista and David Price. Like, we thought they were going to at least win 1 World Series.
Yeah.
On paper, when you get a Yariel Rodriguez, I know he's been injured throughout the year, but you go Chris Bassett, Kevin Gausman, Manoah actually looks like himself. Then Manoah gets hurt. Kevin Gausman's got some shoulder issues. Yusei has been on fire, but maybe now he's going to get traded. And now Vladdy, he's been written off. Everyone says that he's a ground ball merchant. There's no way that he deserves to be on the cover of MLB The Show.
Yeah.
The dude's hitting 295 with a near 140 OPS plus and 17 home runs with 4 home runs in his last 5 games.
Yeah.
And in those last 5 games, the Blue Jays have lost 3 of 5, and they're now 10 games back, not in the East, in the wild card.
Wow.
What's going on with Vladdy? Do you think that he gets shipped? Because he's a free agent after next year.
They have to.
Yeah, after next year.
I think that they have to, right? I mean,
Okay.
baseball's better when Vladdy's playing well, obviously. The
I agree.
Toronto, you're going to want to go to games. He's important for that organization. But how are you just going to sit on him and do what the Angels did with Ohtani, right? Like right now you have peak value for him. He's playing amazing. I mean, Bo Bichette's out for weeks, right? George Springer stinks.
He's been insane lately, though. I will say, I gotta tip my cap. He's been a monster.
But man, it's you look at what he's
like
done
if I
this
read you
year,
his
right?
stats, if I read you his stats, you would have think I'm reading off Mark McGwire's stats
For George Springer.
Yeah. So over his last, just random, I just want to show you real quick. Over George's last 45 games, he's got 10 home runs and 31 RBIs.
Okay, no, that's
900 OPS.
I'm glad he's turning up. I mean, for me, right, the Blue Jays. They haven't been a team I've been paying a lot of attention to, so I can.
True. Okay.
I'm glad that he's turning up, but when you look at
his last 21 games, he's hitting 360. So sorry.
Jesus Lord. Okay, well, I mean, there's still 10 games under, right? So,
when is he a free agent? 2027. Maybe he gets shipped.
Who?
Springer, like the playoff kind of superstar that he is. Maybe he's shipped before Vladdy.
Man,
I don't know, dude. The Blue Jays are a weird team, dude.
Yeah, they definitely are a weird team. I mean, they have Varsho, they have I mean, it's just it's a crazy lineup to look at right now, especially with Bo Bichette out and everything like that.
You got some star names in there, like Ernie Clement. Some other stars. You got Ryan Burr and Wes Parsons. Those are pitchers. I'm just being facetious. They're actually like on paper, they're not as loaded as I actually anticipated. Maybe that's because Bo's not playing, and he's got a 70 OPS plus.
Dude,
what happened to Bo? I forgot that he fell off. They gotta ship them both.
It's bad for Bo, and they definitely had to ship Bo, and I think they would have shipped Bo, but I mean, he's hurt right now. I don't know what's gonna happen with him.
Okay,
he's not playing for weeks, but I honestly felt that Bo was gonna end up going to the Giants, and right now with Tyler Fitzgerald and Brett Wisely, I don't know if they need to make a play like that, but
Brett Wisely's good.
What, dude? Yeah, they look good, but with Bo Bichette and Vlad, I mean, I don't understand why these teams hold on to the quote unquote stars so long before they're worthy of being traded, right? Like,
it's not like the
you got to
NBA.
Understand where you stand in your division, where you stand in these wild cards, right? If you have this team that you felt you put together so well, you have your rotation, you have everything. Obviously, you've had some injury issues with certain guys, but you're still 10 games under 500. Like, 10 games under, they are 10 games under 500 too, but 10 games behind in the wild card. Like, what is the benefit of keeping these guys?
Well, on paper, do you think that they can make a run in the second half?
No.
Because the trade deadline is rapidly approaching. If they don't, like the Cubs, they're Jed Hoyer. I know it's not fun to say out loud. Like, we got this week to turn things around. Otherwise, we're making plans for 2025. I know that's aggressive and fans don't want to hear that, but at least it's realistic.
No, it is.
I'm not saying the Blue Jays GM should come out. I think it's Ross Atkins. I could be wrong about that, but you can't just dangle. And actually, one thing, other GMs are now starting to talk about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because Yelich, he has to see a spinal specialist. Of all people to bring up, the Brewers GM was like, we can't just go get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Why is he the first guy that you think of in regards to a trade that can save your team? So it has to be a real thing where other managers have in the back of their mind that the Blue Jays are toast and Vladdy's gone.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Vladdy would help out any other team so significantly because, like I said, I mean, if Springer is doing better, which is awesome, you still look at the lineup around him right now, right?
Not good enough.
It's just like, what can he could be the scorching earth hot right now, and what could it really do for that team? I mean, I don't know, man. The Blue Jays have always been so disappointed, in my opinion, with just
they really have for a while now too.
Yeah, it's like you said, right? With that, there is nobody who loved the Blue Jays more than I did when their lineup was literally too low batting leadoff. Josh Donaldson, Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Bautista. They were so stacked. They had Russell Martin. And then they had like Ryan Goins batting left.
Good seasons too. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Colby Rasmus even popped off for a few seasons. That lineup was just sick.
Yeah. And then when they got David Price, you said it perfectly, right? It was like, all right, which year are they going to win this? I mean, Donaldson had just won MVP. Jose Bautista and Edwin were just locks to hit 40 bombs, it felt like. Like, they were just so sick. And I'm tired of that team just not doing what they're supposed to do. It's
I don't know what it is, man.
It's gotten old. And I mean, I don't look at this Blue Jays team now and think that they're nearly as exciting as they were back then. But dude, they have some studs, right? Like, there's no reason, because I look at this right now, and like you said, could they make a run in the second half? These are the teams that are above them in the wild card. You got the Rangers, Tigers, Rays, Mariners, Red Sox, right? All these teams. How can you make an argument that they're better than any of these teams?
You can't. And you can actually make the argument that the other teams need him more. Like, I'm looking at the 3 worst teams in terms of first base production. Mm-hmm. If you had to guess, would you say that the Yankees are in there or the Astros are in there? Because if you did, that's the right guess. Yeah, the Astros are second worst in first base production, and the Yankees are third. My prediction, let me know what you think about this. Bregman and Tucker, I think they're both free agents after this year. Maybe. I think Bregman for sure is, right? Mm-hmm. I think they're going to trade for Vladdy, let Bregman walk, and then sign Vladdy long-term.
That would be awesome for the Astros.
I think that's what's going to happen for the Astros.
You'd be getting a guy who was literally like, I'm not going to bring up Jose Abreu because we haven't seen Jose Abreu be Jose Abreu, especially on the Astros, really. You know, he had some significantly
playoffs were like maybe the
moments.
Playoffs were different because he went off in the playoffs.
Yeah,
so I thought maybe he could bounce back.
And he had some clutch moments. I mean, last year that go-ahead grand slam against the Rangers when they were in that heated division race. There's been some good moments, right? But Jose Abreu won an MVP, right? Like, it's so weird to think about that, but he won an MVP with the White Sox. With Vlad, you are getting another like Jose Abreu, but in his prime years. If you
Vlad is going to be, he's putting up Hall of Fame trajectory level stats, man.
Yeah, no, if you put him on the Astros, that team gets significantly more intimidating to look at, right? Like that would be
here's what I got for you. Here's what I got for you about the Astros, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to get Vladdy.
Okay.
They're going to miss out on Crochet. We'll talk about Crochet in a second, but they are going to get a lefty in the same trade with Vladdy. Vladdy, Yusei Kikuchi. Yusei is a free agent after this season. You can't lose that guy for nothing. He's got 125 strikeouts. I know the ERA is buns, but because it is buns, he's nasty enough to where he's going to give you some depth because you've already lost a Lance McCullers. You've already lost a Christian Javier, a Jose Urquidy. So many guys on the shelf. It's going to be Vladdy and Yusei to the Astros. And Crochet, who went 4 innings. So we'll talk about Garrett Crochet now because the only reason why I'm even thinking that he's going to get traded, it's the first start of the second half, right? Mm-hmm. They pull him after 70 pitches and 4 innings. He had 7 strikeouts. He was on pace to get double-digit strikeouts. And they said, you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to protect our asset. To me, that screams he was showing off and auditioning for other squads, and he will either be a Yankee or a Baltimore Oriole. Or a Dodger.
I don't know why they're giving up so quick. They're only 34 and a half games back, you know? Like
the Chicago White Sox? What are you talking about? They got Drew Thorpe. He's really good.
Dude, I mean, if you're the White Sox, that's smart, right? You have to do that. You have to trade him. You have to trade Luis Robert. Like, you're so far gone right now. Mm-hmm. Get what you can. Start this. You remember when the White Sox were just that team where it's like, dude, not only are they good right now, they have some crazy good prospects.
They were horrifying. Yeah, dude. I remember when a lot of people were picking them when they had, Giolito. So this was like the year, I don't know if it was of the no-hitter or after the no-hitter. Everyone's like, yo, Giolito.
It was the year. It was the year.
Everyone's saying Eloy, Moncada. Mm-hmm. You got Tim Anderson on fire. You got Luis Robert Jr. They're going to win the World Series.
Yeah.
And then I think they got beat by the A's or the Astros in the wild card series.
It was the A's. Because you remember
the A's?
He threw the no-hitter, and then he had a perfect game going against the A's. Gio did in that wild card.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so that was the year, and it was like, man, this could be their year. Dude, the way I look at the White Sox right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, I look at the White Sox right now as if the Orioles were doing what they did with the farm system right now, and then in 3 years they were 30 games under fucking 30 games back in their division, right? Where it's just like, whoa, wait, what happened? Like, you had everything. You had the youth. You had a stacked team with stacked prospects coming up. What happened? right? Like
And
that's
the thing is, like, they could have gone down the Orioles of like hitting on picks, so they sucked for a while and they were good and then they sucked and now they're hitting on so many picks.
Yeah.
I like some of their picks too. I thought that Oscar Colas was going to be good. I thought that Benintendi was not going to be the worst player in baseball. Corey Lee, I like that option as a catcher because like they got rid of Martin Maldonado. I like the Drew Thorpe trade. Yeah. And if you think about it, Kyle, Dylan Cease has been on fire for the Padres. Drew Thorpe has been amazing. Chris Sale might win a Cy Young. Like, it's not as if the White Sox have completely run amok. I don't know how they've been so bad because they have some great pieces. On paper, they should be better than what they are. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then, I do like some of their picks like Colson Montgomery. I think that he could be good. I like Drew Thorpe, obviously, Noah Schultz. So they could have a disgusting rotation if they keep Garrett Crochet. But we do have some other things to talk about. So do you think that Garrett is going to get traded with Luis Robert Jr., or do you think that they might be separate trades? Because my prediction is either going to be Garrett to the three teams that we talked about, the Orioles, the Yankees, or the Dodgers. I'm actually thinking the Dodgers might be a better fit for Crochet, and Skubal might go to the Orioles. And then Luis Robert Jr., it's not going to happen, but the Guardians GM said that he's not afraid to make in-division trades. So I don't know if that's Skubal. I don't know if that's Luis. I don't know if that's Crochet. What do you think about the
man.
The second
the
half
Guardians,
rotations for these guys?
I'll be real with you. They get one of those guys. They are, they are so nasty already. And I don't,
know, dude.
I'm going to be honest with you, Fuzzy. Whenever I look at the Guardians lineup, I'm always just like, it's so impressive how well they've done. You know, you break them down one by one and
it's been rough lately. I won't lie though.
No,
it's been rough.
No, I know. 3-7 in the last 10 games, but man, like, having Steven Kwan, you basically just have Ichiro, right? Like, what is he doing? Yeah. He's right, insane.
Like, he's who everyone thinks Luis Ariz should be.
Yeah, no, it's
in my opinion. No disrespect to Luis.
Yeah, Ariz is really, really good, but Steven Kwan is just so consistent. It's impressive. It truly is.
He's the Tony Gwynn type because, in my opinion, like they're both contact guys, but Kwan brings the Gold Glove defense like Gwynn. So I think that's a better comparison.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue against it.
Sorry, random tangent.
The Guardians getting one of those starting pitchers would be awesome, but I just don't see, like, for how much I want to see Crochet get traded, and I know he should. With the Tigers, I don't know if you let Skubal go right now. You're 6 games behind in the wild card. They've
been playing better lately.
But Skubal's just, you don't want to keep that Cy Young
He's
winner.
my second favorite pitcher to watch in baseball, right behind Paul Skeens.
Dude, because they're so similar, right? Like you're late in the game and they're fucking throwing gas. Like
he's 27 throwing 100 on pitch 98.
Man, like he's so good and he's gonna win Cy Young, I think. And I think the Tigers could use something like that and build around that. I don't think the Tigers are as far away as the White Sox are, obviously. Even like the Blue Jays. Like if I'm the Blue Jays, I'm in a rush to trade guys more than I am the Tigers trading Skubal. I would like to see Skubal stay. Well, of course, I'd love to see him go to a team and like dominate in playoffs and stuff like that. But if I'm a Tigers fan, like, dude, no way I want to see him go. But Crochet, he needs to go, and I think he needs to go separate from Robert to make sure you're getting your max value. You trade them together to a team, and maybe you're kind of just doing it for a package of prospects, and you're not getting the top guys that you really need to. If you're the White Sox, you need to make sure every trade is crafted perfectly, right? Because like you said, with Dylan Cease, with these guys, they're going and they're prospering. You're going to feel like you missed out if you do not get your best possible. You need to start this rebuild off hot, right?
Yep. And do you think that, I feel like the Yankees don't have a better offer than the Orioles or the Dodgers. So if you had to guess who would get both in a trade, do you think that the Dodgers would have a better chance and that they would benefit the most from it? Or do you think the Orioles, they'd probably have to give up a Mullins and maybe Chase McDermott or something like that? Who do you think would be the best, who would benefit the most from a Crochet and Robert trade?
I think the best trade for both teams would work out if it was White Sox and Orioles. Because I think the Orioles could make that trade happen so easily and not have anything affected, right? Like they give away Mullins, right? You're immediately getting a center fielder back in Robert, and then you give away a couple of the prospects that they have studs all around, right? And I think that they have enough depth right now to where it's kind of okay if you're getting a guy like Crochet and you're getting a guy like Luis Robert. Like, they're in such a rare situation because you have guys that are win now, and then you have guys that are building long term, right? The Orioles are in this awesome situation where they are win now right now because they have the team that can win now, but also it's kind of not a rush because these guys are going to be in their prime for a while, right?
But don't forget, I agree with you, but they are losing Corbin Burnes in like 3 months.
You get Crochet, baby. You get Crochet.
That's what I'm saying.
But,
that's what I'm saying. If you're the Orioles, honestly, I don't think it's championship or bust this year. I think it's next year once you get a Felix Bautista back. But because Corbin Burnes might leave, because we saw what happened with arbitration and the Brewers, my man's got hosed. They sat him down and said, "You're the reason why we didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You deserve less money." He's not going to take less money to stay with the Orioles unless he pulls a Jose and says, "I want to stay here and win." So I agree with you. Orioles, we saw what they did with Joey Ortiz. He's winning. They kept Jordan Westburg, and now Jordan Westburg is an all-star. So it doesn't matter who they trade. Someone's going to pop off.
Yeah.
And Crochet is going to go to the Orioles, and Tarek Skubal is going to go to the Dodgers. And then you're going to have Kershaw, Yamamoto, and Skubal, and Ohtani, and Tony Gonsolin, and Dustin May after he's done with his throat surgery. And they're just loaded, man. Landon Knack, Gavin Stone. They're going to make that splash.
It's just scary, man. They have so
many.
Scary. And then you look at I'm looking at the Orioles prospects right now.
It's insane. Kobe Mayo might be Mike Trout in the batter's box in a few years.
They have just, I don't even know what to say, man. Like
Enrique Bradfield.
There's no reason. There's just no reason, right, that you should have the team that the Orioles have right now. They have a stacked team. They are very blessed. And you have 3 prospects in the top 15. Just,
Dude, Kobe Mayo at AAA, and this is only 130 games, 33 doubles, 31 home runs, a 950 OPS. Dude. 112 RBIs in 130 games. Yeah. And that's not Jackson Holiday. That's not Samuel Basallo. What is his name? Samuel
Basallo.
Yeah, he's got that card in MLB The Show. That's actually insane.
Yeah.
Enrique Bradfield, Chase McDermott. The Orioles, they're going to get a Garrett Crochet. The Dodgers are going to get freaking Tarek Skubal. It's going to be a fun trade deadline. I cannot wait. And then Luis Robert Jr., come on down to Cleveland. It's not going to happen, but we could definitely use you. That would be a sick trade.
That would be a sick trade.
Real quick, I hate for the random transition, but do you think that the Dodgers are still your favorite in the NL?
Dude, I don't know.
All right, maybe we'll do the World Series picks a couple days from now, but at least we can do our midseason awards, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the Dodgers, there's such a... It's been so weird because I watch how the Giants play them, and in reality, I mean, we won the last series against them. They've already won the series. They're up 2 games, but the way they're playing, they're not these world beaters that they should be, right?
They've also been hammered by injuries. I won't even lie about that.
But their depth, like when you're talking about the Skubal thing, right? It's like, how awesome is it to be the Dodgers where you can just get everybody can be injured and your whole rotation can be injured, and you have a Cy Young caliber starting 5 rotation on the IL, right? We've talked about this before where it's like, what? Like you look at that team and it doesn't make sense.
I mean, even the guys that you're looking at Buehler, who's on the IL, a 5.9 ERA. Bobby Miller, he's on the 40-man, but he's in AAA now, an 8 ERA. The guys that have really clutched up for, aside from Glasnow, who's on the 15-day, geez, how many guys are on the IL?
So
Michael
many.
Grove, all of them, but you have Gavin Stone, a rookie, a 3.1 ERA. He could win Rookie of the Year. You have Landon Knack, a 3.07 ERA. A guy named Ryan River a couple days ago, or River Ryan, came up a few days ago. He was throwing 98. They turned him from a shortstop into a pitcher, Kyle.
Jesus.
And he's throwing 97 as a rookie starting pitcher, shutting out whoever he played. He was disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have to worry about anybody winning Rookie of the Year when Paul Skeens is here.
Right. What am I talking about? Paul Skeens, my bad. He might win the whole Cy Young.
Crazy good production for him. Yeah, I mean, dude... how much longer is Mookie going to be out?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question.
Because it seemed like It was a lengthy injury, but it seems like it was a while ago that he got injured.
It'll be like a Yamamoto thing where maybe they're just pulling a Kawhi Leonard and they're easing it because they're gonna win the NL West. It's no problem.
Of course.
Maybe they're just using what is it called, load management in baseball terms. And I think that Yamamoto's gonna be back at the end of August, which is crazy to say out loud. I guess he has a partially torn shoulder or an impingement or something like that. And then Mookie, I can't remember if it was a back or a knee thing. I could be wrong on both of those.
Let me check.
Dodgers are going to be a juggernaut no matter what. And do they have the NL MVP? Can I just ask you that?
Yeah,
right
they
now?
do. They do. They for sure.
It's
do.
not Harper.
Dude, it's just Ohtani's just like.
You know what Harper has going for him this year? He's not a bum right fielder who's like in a contract walk year who has to play it cool and has a -8 defensive WAR. The dude's hitting 300. I'm lying. He's hitting 296 with 23 home runs, a 171 OPS plus, and 6 outs above average at first base. He's been a vacuum over there. So I know that doesn't really amount to Ohtani. I mean, these stats are stupid. 314, 30 home runs, 24 stolen bases, a 190 OPS plus, a higher baseball WAR, even though he hasn't played defense or pitched. It's going to be hard to beat Ohtani. Harper probably coming second.
By the way, with Mookie, it was his hand, remember?
His hand, that's right. He got hit. You're right.
But
right, so NL MVP, you got Ohtani.
Yeah, I think Ohtani wins MVP.
I'm going Harper with the late, like he's gonna go off in August for a 10 home run month. So I got Bryce Harper, you got Ohtani, NL Cy Young.
So you think Harper comes back and gets it? I mean, that'd be awesome to see. As a Giants fan now, you know, when I don't have a season long MVP ticket on Ohtani, I want to see Ohtani lose it now. You know, I would love to see Bryce Harper come back and get it, but
I just want him to be a 3-timer because he's number 3.
No, I get you. It's man.
It'll just be it'll be an Ohtani Vladdy situation years back. Remember when Vladdy had that insane 2021? Yeah. And the only reason that's actually a compliment. The only reason why you lost an MVP is because you lost to the most talented athlete to ever exist.
Yep.
Not a bad way to lose.
Nope. If you're gonna lose, that's who you want to lose to.
Exactly. All right, NL Cy Young. I got Chris Sale, but there's other guys like Ronaldo Lopez, Paul Skeens is in the running now. Who do you got maybe for an NL Cy Young?
I do think Chris Sale wins it, which is, I mean, whether it's Chris Sale or whether Paul Skeens can, I don't know how it works when somebody comes up late. I don't know if Paul Skeens is going to be eligible to win it. Like, he will be eligible, right? But maybe he won't get the love that he deserves for it.
Probably not, yeah,
but,
you're right.
But, I mean, you look at what Paul Skeens is doing. Like, dude, let's just say this right now. With all the pitchers in the league, how many pitchers are you taking over Paul Skeens right now in like a Game 7 against the aliens to save Earth?
Honestly, after what I've seen, I'm not taking anyone. I love Skubal. I love Burns. I don't think I'm taking anyone. He's my Andre Iguodala.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean...
I want Iguodala.
Yeah. Give me Iguodala. No, but realistically, if you're asking me, from what I've seen from these guys... Maybe Skubal because of a little more experience, but like I'm watching Paul Skeens pitch and people can't hit him. Like they can't. You know, they just can't. And man, he was so close to having the perfect, like not a perfect game, but such a great perfect, outing yesterday. And it was just, that one swing from Nolan Arenado and no run support. I mean, I hope it's not another DeGrom situation where they just don't get him any run support. But it feels like, he's had a couple wins that he got no decisions for.
They score a buttload for him. Like, he has no issues with run support when he starts. It's actually crazy.
Paul Skeens?
Yeah, he gets like 5-6 runs. I mean, the first 4 starts or something like that, 3 or 4 starts, Andrew McCutchen hit a home run in all 3 of his 4 first starts. So, like, they go off.
That's hilarious. Yeah, the 2 games that I watched where I had him, it seemed like he came out with a no decision when he was dealing. But I'm glad to know that I've only seen a small part about it. You want to know something funny? Is yesterday's game, I had Paul Skeens on underdog. I had him over fantasy points with Nolan Arenado over he needed a strikeout once, and then Paul Goldschmidt under everything. So Paul Goldschmidt, they all hit pretty much except for Nolan Arenado. I only watched one pitch of that entire game, and it was the pitch that he gave up the home run to Arenado.
No.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, Arenado's up. Like, let me watch this and see if he strikes out. And he threw a slider that immediately got hit out. And I was like, okay, we'll turn it off. And for a while,
man,
that was the only run in the game. And
you know what's funny? I had the opposite. I had a 2 parlay with Jose Barrios strikeouts and Logan Gilbert strikeouts. I tuned in for one batter. Gilbert got the 8th strikeout to have me win it, and I just tuned out. So I had the reverse of you, where mine hit.
That's a lot better experience than the one I had. Yeah. Sorry that you guys heard that. I got some construction in the. I
didn't even hear anything.
Oh, okay, good. No, there's a.
Yeah.
It was just a quick saw, real quick, I think. But yeah, that's a lot better feeling than what I went through. But yeah,
who's not been feeling great lately?
Who's not looking great lately? Who?
Yeah, who's not been looking or feeling great?
Who?
ZACK HAMPLE. But we'll talk about ZACK HAMPLE in a second.
Well, I don't think ZACK HAMPLE's ever gonna look great, because the man. No, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go into this.
We'll talk about our AL MVPs first, and then we'll talk about that little skirmish. And
that'll be a short conversation.
Yeah, because we don't want to take up too much time today. But MVP right now in the AL, you probably got to go Judge. But I mean, what Bobby's been doing lately, Gunnar Henderson, don't discount that guy. Even I don't think that Jarren Duran's going to win it, but I'm going to tip my cap to Jarren Duran and what the Red Sox have done lately. But between Bobby, Judge, Henderson, and Soto, who do you think is your midseason MVP?
Come on,
because
man.
Midseason is not. Man. I know. But Bobby, we can't count his last couple games where he had 12 base hits in 3 games.
No, Bobby's been awesome. Right? And that's why I went on a deep dive yesterday, and I was like, you know what, dude? Everybody's on Judge, man. Like, people are sleeping on Bobby. I'm gonna show why Bobby has a fight in it. And then I saw the numbers and compared everything and looked at everything, and he doesn't really have a fight in it like I was hoping he would. But I will say, Bobby Witt is the most electric player in the AL right now to watch.
Okay.
Like, that's okay. And that in itself, if we're giving out mid-seasons rewards, let's give away to the swaggiest, cleanest player in the AL, who is Bobby Witt. He is so sick to watch. You know, and it sucks too, because like you look at the
crushed at that last home run in the Derby.
Oh, dude, that's literally what I was just about to say. As I was gonna say, you have the home run derby where he could have easily been the winner. Instead, he comes in second. And in any other year where Aaron Judge isn't a fucking mutant turtle, that Bobby could win it, right? But Aaron Judge is just being so rude to baseballs all the time. I mean, how do you have 35 home runs right after half?
Dude, it's actually insane what he's done, despite getting walked like every other at bat because the Yankees only have 2 hitters.
Yeah, he's gonna have a Barry Bonds video on him soon about how good of a season would he have had without a baseball bat. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude.
So you got Judge as your AL guy, but Bobby, keep a lookout for Bobby. And then what about we talked about NL Cy Young. What about
Skubal?
Skubal? Okay.
Hey, but you know who has a chance, though? Who's somebody we haven't even spoken his name in this video? Seth Lugo.
Yep, Seth Lugo.
Seth Lugo.
I just don't know if he has the strikeout stuff lately has been better, but the voters nowadays love the strikeout and low ERA stuff. So when you got Tarek with a 2.3 ERA and 146 strikeouts.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And Corbin Burns has a 2.3, 116. Whereas, what does Seth have?
I'm trying
2.38 with a... Oh, wait, he's got 122 strikeouts. I'm tripping.
I'm like looking
But he has more
now.
innings. He leads the league in innings pitched. Or actually, he's right behind Logan Gilbert. Oh, Logan Gilbert's been pretty good, too.
Yeah, I mean, the strikeout numbers, I think those are... And then you look at quality starts. I mean, Seth Lugo's 16.
I think he's number 1, right?
Skubal 15. Like, dude, there's some
tough.
The AL is showing out this year.
Look at so the Mariners have 3 guys in the top 11 for quality starts. The Royals have Lugo, Reagans, and then I know there's another guy. Maybe I'm forgetting.
But Royals?
Brady Singer has been really good. I don't know why he's not up here. But the Royals can make some noise as well. They could be a surprise team for a lot of different people.
Yeah. No, they're fun to watch. You know what? Forget all that, though. Let's just give the Cy Young to Emmanuel Clase. Let's just say screw it, you know?
Dude, I might sound like a hater, but Clase scares me, dude.
Really?
He scares me.
Dude, let me tell you something real quick.
What?
I am a Giants fan. I have to deal with Camilo Duvall. I wish I could body slam you for saying this. Because I would trade my soul to have
I
Emmanuel
love
Clase.
Emmanuel Clase, but he still scares me.
Dude, he's 0.78 ERA, 30 saves.
Let me tell you why he scares me. So
Okay.
since what is this? Since June 9th, right? He's got a 1.2 ERA, which is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Since June 9th, he has 8 strikeouts in 16 innings. He does not strike people out. And the problem with that is when he's not striking guys out, sometimes he tries to aim, and that's when the hits come in a flurry. Now, luckily, he's been pretty good at not allowing hits lately. But in the second half of last year, he lost this 5 to 8 games easily. And that's because of if that slider gets in his head, like, oh, I got to use the slider now as opposed to just throwing this cutter 108 miles an hour down the plate, that's when he gets in his head. So
yeah, I remember he was blowing saves because he blew one of the Giants in that span. I remember that where it was, but I don't know, man. It doesn't look like he's capable.
I mean, when you're
of doing
26 years old with 2 All-Star saves and you have 140 saves already in your career, I mean, that's pretty crazy. So I don't want to sound like I'm hating on the guy, but like if you offered me Tanner Scott versus Emmanuel Clase, I might go Tanner Scott.
Really?
Just kidding.
Wow.
No, I'm still going Clase. I'm still going Clase.
Okay, I was like, damn.
The strikeout stuff, maybe I'm too strikeout, like, obsessed when it comes to a closer. Maybe you don't need that many strikeouts if you're getting outs and avoiding weak contact. So
yeah,
there you go.
Tanner Scott's also another guy though that we haven't talked about that they could, like I wouldn't mind.
Oh yeah,
seeing
they might package him and send him back to the Orioles because he came from the Orioles and Craig Kimbrell.
I forget that.
He's so hit
I
or
do
miss,
forget
man.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was a dog in 2020, that shortened season. He had a 1.1 or 1.3 ERA with the Orioles, and then he blew up in 2021. Like, he had a dangerous finest card in 2020. And then the last 2 years, Tanner Scott has an insane 11.4 strikeouts per 154 strikeouts in 120 innings. Anyways, we're going on tangents. We got one more thing to talk about. You guys, I'm sorry.
No.
You guys saw it
please.
over the weekend.
This makes me happy.
I know. This does. We're so back, baby. But Kyle, you're a YouTuber. I'm a YouTuber. What is the number one sin that a YouTuber can do to another YouTuber?
I mean, there's a lot of sins, but probably copyright striking somebody else's content.
Not just copyright strike, a false copyright strike because you didn't like what the person said.
Yes.
So a lot of people wanted me to talk about it on camera. I don't really have much to say because he did retract it, and I'm happy that he did that because it happened to my editor, Pesky Talk. And by the way, there's been a lot of it's not just ZACK HAMPLE who was abusing the copyright system. There's a lot of abusing of the copyright system, and my editor has been just getting hammered by it. So he's not making really anything aside from him working with me, which has been great. So I had to defend the guy. I had to kind of stand up for fair use because you can't just strike other people's channel. And a lot of people were saying, well, he should have asked for permission. You don't have to ask for permission. I don't have to hit up Disney to say, hey, can I make a 3-part series on why The Acolyte is not a great show?
Yeah,
no, you just use the content because fair use is a thing. So don't send any more hate to the guy. He did retract it. I hate that he didn't apologize to Pesky himself, and he was a little bit condescending.
He's
I used to watch the guy
dude.
a lot.
Like,
you think so? But I used to watch him a lot, so I have a different perspective. It was almost like seeing someone I looked up to just spit in your face, and it's almost like when you want to meet your favorite athlete and you ask for your autograph the first time you ever see him, and then they just ignore you, and it's like, oh man, never meet your hero sort of thing. Or like, remember in Incredibles where Buddy he became the villain because he got shafted by Mr. Incredible?
Yeah.
I was not going to let that happen to me. I'm not going to say ZACK HAMPLE is the most evil human ever, but what he did was the biggest sin by a YouTuber that I can imagine in quite some time. He pulled a sniper wolf.
I don't know. I like to think that I can. I honestly like to think that I can read somebody pretty well and judge people's character really well. I think that guy's an absolute dirtbag. Like, I genuinely dislike him a lot. From him trying to pay people to get into the veterans only games, for him, there's so many things about this guy that I just despise, And there's things that me and you have seen that we don't expose people's dirt on stuff that's not, out there, so we're not going to do that. But from what me and you have seen as well, it just says about his character, right? Like, I don't like the guy. And it's a problem when, everybody can see it now. And, it's easy to show your true colors as years go on because people are going to see you for what you are. And even with the AJ thing with the ball and stuff like that, like there's so much weird things. And I don't think he's just so fake. The nice things that he does it's not to be nice, right? It like the retracting the thing. He's gonna retract it because he was called out. If he wasn't called out, he wouldn't have done it. That's
why he never said sorry. He's not sorry.
Yeah, when it comes to giving these balls away to the kids after he catches them or whatever, that's only because he's been criticized. The whole fun part about having a baseball is catching it yourself. When you're running up and taking them from kids and you're giving it to them, it's not the same experience, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you're doing it because you got caught. You're saying sorry because you got caught. Just don't be an asshole, and then you don't have to worry about it. But it's too late for him.
That's like you won a trip, or like you won an excursion to drive a NASCAR, and then someone else drove it and then gave you the wheel. Like, it's not the same.
Exactly. No, it's
like cool, thanks, but I don't get to drive the stupid thing, man.
Like
you won a Danimals cruise, and then someone went on it for you and they brought back pictures. Like, it's not the same.
No, it's that guy.
But I wanted to bring it up and say thank you so much for like how I know that you made a comment as well, and the community just absolutely rallied around this kid with 4,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And made ZACK HAMPLE retract a false copyright strike, and it really meant a lot that you said something and Dimmu said something. A lot of people said something, and we saved a guy from literally having his life ruined.
Yeah.
And I just want to say the community, it was special. You guys protected content creation and fair use. Thank you so much, and I hope that ZACK is a better creator in person because of this. He could use a little bit of that in his life. And stop being so condescending and defensive. You're not the perfect person. No one cares that you caught A-Rod's, or that A-Rod called you famous. Come on, man. Let's be a little bit better of a person. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you guys for coming to Pesky's defense. You saved a kid. And you, Kyle, thank you for always having my back with everything.
No, I was just straight up proud of you. Like, to use your platform, like, you didn't have to say shit. You know, you have... I think ZACK HAMPLE is nothing. Like, I truly feel that in my head. But from the outside looking in, you're defending a guy with a very little amount of followers against a guy with a lot of followers. There's risk to that, right? You could, there's not actually risk, but I'm saying people could think there is. Like, man, this person has so many supporters, and I'm going out of my way to start this little like dialogue that could not go my way. You didn't think about any of that. You saw what was right. You brought it up. You didn't rally up the troops before. You just went and did it because you stuck up for your dude. I think you see me do shit like that all the time. Like, that's how I feel real people should go about things. When you do that, it makes me proud to say you're my friend. Like, I'm not trying to get corny and, like sappy, but like that made me proud to say, yeah, that's one of my good friends. Like, I love seeing that. And I hope that,
thank you, man.
I know you would do that 10 times out of 10 times for any of your friends. So I loved seeing that. And of course, I'm going to show you love and be there for you. I mean, I'll fucking box the dude if you want me to. Like I look at that guy and I see just, it's like I'm not going to go as far to say I see evil, but there's something about him and the way he speaks and the way he goes about things. Reading that Tinder post where he's saying, I will pay you this amount of money. He's just a fucking snake, man. Like, I don't like the dude. I'm just...
Okay. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, that's how I really feel, man. That one thing I want you guys to know, if you guys are watching this podcast, I'm going to try to make it a thing where, we're talking and we're respectful to people who deserve it and everything like that. But
100%.
I never want to shy away from telling you guys how I feel, right? I went on a rant about this on Twitter the other day and stuff like that, and I get worried that a lot of people are so scared to get canceled with certain things that they don't say how they really feel, when in reality there's certain stuff that you won't get canceled for because you're just speaking your mind. But it's that idea where it's like, will I, I better stay quiet about this. I wish the internet was a little bit more loose to where people could say what they're saying, because a lot of people could elaborate on it more and really get a talking point through. But so many people, just with how things are nowadays, are just like, let me just avoid it. And it's really messing up the freedom of speech of everything. So I am going to make sure, I'm not going to get out of pocket with it, but I'm going to always say how I feel on there.
I respect that, because I know we've been doing this a long time, and I feel like it was easier to be yourself when we first started, and now public pressure is a thing. I feel like Twitter is the most toxic playground I've ever seen in my life, and it really does detract so much from your life if you don't use it correctly. But maybe people aren't using it correctly because they're not being themselves at the end of the day, and they're hiding and shying away and not showing like you're as honest as it gets on Twitter, whereas a lot of people would never say the stuff that you've recently said. So
I think
you got to tip your cap to honest people like you and people who aren't afraid to stand on their morals and be themselves. And it's not easy because you can lose a lot from it, but you don't care.
Yeah, no, to back up your point, I think a lot of people, and it's not that I don't care. It's just that I know that I've built my following based around, like, I've said enough questionable things to people that, not to them, but I'm saying, like, I've said enough questionable things to where people who don't appreciate the honesty, they've already stopped supporting, right? So now, over these years, I've built a following of people that know me and what I stand on and how I feel. So I don't feel there's risk when I say certain things because it's me speaking my mind, and I feel my crowd listens and has an open mind to it, which is a blessing, right? Because when you have a crowd that's willing to cancel you at any second, you're constantly worried about what you're going to say. And to back up what you said about Twitter, I think so many people are spending their time thinking about what they can tweet to get likes opposed to what they can tweet to express how they feel. It's so easy to quote tweet somebody who's in the middle of being canceled and piggyback on it and get a bunch of likes on it. And people are addicted to getting likes right now. Does that make sense?
It's unfortunate. No, I see it in so many recent things. You could probably guess what I'm talking about. But recent events with like YouTubers and the difference in how people treated their public reaction based off, am I going to lose sponsors or not? So I 100% agree with you. It's sad. And I've been having not issues lately, but having thoughts in my head of, do I even want Twitter? Do I want all of this negativity in my life? I just want a flip phone in my life. But we need our phones. We need social media to do what we do. It's just, if you're not willing to stand on what you believe in, that's when you end up with a lot of, do I even need this anymore? So it's not like I don't stand on my morals, but maybe I don't share the same opinions as a lot of people who spend all of their life on Twitter. Again, that might be a hot take, but if you guys are spending all of your time inside on Twitter, scrolling and just replying to everything and being negative, this is my challenge to stop doing that. That's all I'm trying to say. I mean, stop doing that.
Like, if there's something, and I'm not trying to be mean to you guys. This is actually a just how Fuzzy said it. He's being serious. I agree with him 100%. I want you to think about this, right? And this, I'm not calling anybody out specifically. This is as a group. You can hear this, make a change, and better yourself without even feeling embarrassed, because we're not calling you out in a singular form. This is to anybody. If you're watching this and you are somebody who spends all day with an athlete's picture on as your profile picture and you are trolling and spending all your time, there's probably something going wrong in your life right now that's causing you to do that. I know everybody deals with personal stuff. I promise you the best way to deal with that, turn off the Twitter. Do not sit there and only surround yourself around negativity. Go find something to work on to improve yourself, whether it be exercise, having a proper diet. Give yourself something to feel accomplished every single day. You will slowly start feeling the need to troll other people. I don't know if it's bringing satisfaction to those people where it's like, you know what, I'm not in the best spot. It's just a distraction. Yeah, man, it's like,
because they can't do the things that you're saying. They can't will themselves and find the motivation to. I mean, I'm not perfect. I have eating problems sometimes. I have different addictions and bad habits to where the more I cave to those things, the worse I am, and end up spending my days on Twitter and arguing with people I've never met. And my life is significantly worse off because I'm wasting my time. And you just forget that life is so precious. And I guess what Kyle's trying to say is, like, don't forget that it can end at any moment. And the last thing you want to do is say that you bit the dust the day after you argued about whether or not Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is batted makes that other person an awful human or not. Just stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah, I just
seek help. Find a therapist. I love therapy. It's not. It doesn't make you weak if you're a macho man or if you're in high school. Don't be afraid to talk to a counselor, a therapist. I love therapy. There's other services, like there's a great website, Psychology Today. You can find a therapist in 5 seconds. They have all of your insurances on there. Psychology Today. Get some help. Like the Michael Jordan meme. Get some help.
Yeah, and it's not even like, it's. We truly mean that, right? Like, you can tell somebody, oh, go get some help, like you in a disrespectful way. This isn't like actually go seek help if you need help, because I've sought help before, and so has Fuzzy. That's just life. No matter what situation you're in, you guys could look at what me and Fuzzy do for a living. I say that we have dream jobs. I love our jobs, right?
100%.
And yet depression hits still. And people might
we
not
talk about all the time. We're stressed
Yeah.
out and overwhelmed and stuff.
It gets bad sometimes. And luckily, me and Fuzzy are very similar. We have very certain situation. And, you know, we can relate to each other. So we can talk to each other. And sometimes that isn't enough. Sometimes you do need professional help. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. If we can say it publicly, you guys can go act on it. You know, it's just so naive to think that you don't need one if you're truly dealing with mental health, because it'll help you so much. It'll help so much. So I hope you guys do
and
that.
By the way, guys, therapy doesn't just come in. You sit across from someone who's going to talk about your feelings. There's family counselors. There's food dietitians who can help you with your food addictions. There's ways to circumnavigate social addictions, adult addictions, and stuff like that. So whatever it is, there is help out there. And again, I use the website Psychology Today because they can go through different insurances. So I'll even link it in the description if you guys want. But Kyle and I, we definitely encourage. Baseball's fun to talk about. We can talk about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Mike Trout, all this different stuff. But at the end of the day, none of this matters if we're not defending the people that come up behind us.
Yep.
And whether that's me defending Pesky Talk or Kyle ensuring that mental health has to be at the forefront. Just take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and build that path for the people coming up after. And I think that you should be okay, but just know you could do everything right and you still might not be okay. So there are resources available. We'll leave some in the comments down below.
Oh, and you know what? Real quick, I actually started a mental health Discord a couple years ago now. I'll have that in the description. It's a spot where, you know, everybody that's in this Discord is somebody that can relate to us with dealing with either anxiety or depression, or, you know, even thoughts at time, whatever it may be. People in this Discord have all either needed somebody to talk to or currently need somebody to talk to. So I started this Discord for people that may not feel they have the resources to go and talk to whoever they need to when they need to. So this is a spot where you can join in, you can leave a comment, let people know what you're dealing with, and there will be people in there to kind of either relate to how you're feeling, tell you what they did to help it, or just sitting there to talk to you, which is really important sometimes. So I'll try to make sure to have that link in there. I don't know how many people. 77. Oh wow. Yeah, there's almost 600 people in here. So don't think of it as, you know, oh, that's so many people to know my feelings. At the end of the day, these are all people that are in there for the same reason. Nobody's in there to judge.
Come with the sock account, with dummy account. You don't have to be you. Just
exactly
all you want. Just come in and be open and honest. Be yourself, and that's all we're asking.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll try to remember to have that Discord in there. If not, you guys, we do have it like in my Twitch and stuff. But I'll try to remember to have it in for you guys, and it's a good spot to be in.
Hey, you're a good guy, Kyle. Thank you so much.
You're a good guy. I love you.
Hey, you know what? We're just trying to be good little guys and just
good little guy.
Yeah. But guys, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate all of your support. These are definitely going to be more. I don't want to promise things because I've promised things in the past and things haven't happened, but we definitely have a better mindset this time around, and not trying to overcomplicate anything. And we're definitely trying to take care of each other's schedules and, you know, just prioritize mental health like we all talked about. So hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know it was a little bit more current, and I think that this is a pretty good format, just kind of going from topic to topic. If you guys have any suggestions, let us know in the comments, and make sure you guys do us a favor. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and all that different stuff. Share with a friend if you think that they would enjoy listening to this on their car ride if they have a commute or anything like that.
Yep.
Be sure to use code Fuzzy, or is it Kyle or your friend Kyle on Underdog?
I have Kyle, I have your friend Kyle, and I have YFK. I make sure that if anybody is doing it, that they, you know, because on SeatGeek, it'll be like, hey, dude, I used your code Kyle. And it's like, no, that's not my code. You're helping out some guy in Texas.
Mine's Fuzzy for Underdog and SeatGeek, so
that's easy to have.
I'm lucky.
I don't like that it's your friend Kyle on SeatGeek. It's just so long.
And you can't really change it unless you. I think you can contact them though.
Maybe I just don't. It's, you know, I'm just, I don't know. Not enough people are using my code for me to just do all that. But
I know. But you got anything to say before we head on off into the sunset today?
ZACK, HAMPLE, let's box on. No, I'm kidding. No, we're good. I hope Mike Trout doesn't end up being the biggest what if in MLB history.
I agree with you. I need that guy to come back. I mean, if you got to pump him with some extra special juice and give him a balanced breakfast, fine, do it.
Yeah, like do steroids. Please just do steroids. It's okay. Just don't get caught. I'll pay the commissioner off. You'll never get caught. Just come back strong.
That is parentheses satire, everyone. We are not serious. MLB, if you're watching, we are not serious. Play the game the right way.
Yeah, and I don't think Mike Trout would listen to me if I was serious. But yeah, no. All right,
man. Thank you so much for stopping by again to the SUP podcast, to the Stitched Up podcast, whatever we're gonna call this. We got some good ideas coming and some banger podcasts coming your way, guys. So thank you so much for stopping by, Kyle. It's been a pleasure as always.
I love you, bro.
I miss you a lot.
Yeah. It was a good week, and the rest of the weeks are gonna be good as well.
Yep. All right, everyone.
All right,
catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.